I've created 400 different video sales letters for SMMA in around 20 different niches. And I've collected and advised just over $30 million in agency revenue using video sales letters. And today I'm gonna show you the VSL that converted way better than any other VSL that we put up by far. And the reason why it works so well is because it uses human psychology and communication techniques that have literally been used by US presidents, and the same techniques have been used in the top Pixar movies. So I'm gonna cover the 7 to 9 things that we need to have in every single VSL and how you can implement it in your niche and see an increase in close rate as soon as tomorrow. So that said, lock in and let's get to it. So first things first, there's a few different types of VSLs. One's gonna be like a process selling VSL. Some are gonna be like value first, so we're giving value. But the VSL structure I'm gonna be going over in today's video is an offer-centric VSL. Now there's times to use an offer-centric VSL, there's time to use like a process selling. Some people even created like an evergreen VSL. Now those are just for different niches. Like if you're in a traditional SMMA niche, like especially like local business blue collar, I would only do an offer-centric VSL. And what that is just like, it's really heavily based on the offer, whatever offer you're running. That's because like these fucking local business guys, they don't give a shit like how much value they're getting. They don't need to learn how to do it themselves. They just want somebody to get them qualified appointments done for them completely. They don't want to fucking think about it, or else they wouldn't be hiring somebody. They'd be trying to learn it themselves. Now, if you're in an industry like targeting coaches, consultants, agency owners, life insurance guys, something where someone wants to learn how to do it themselves and they're like a little sophisticated, you can do a different structure of VSL. But for most of you guys watching this video, I'm assuming you're in like blue collar, chiropractors, like niches like that. And I'd really suggest using an offer-centric VSL. Now, that's not to say that an offer-centric VSL doesn't work in those other industries. It does. And oftentimes it works better. It's just like, when do you need to use which one? For most of you guys, especially if you're anywhere under like 50K a month, I would say you just need this one video. There's a bunch of different ways to go about VSL creation. And this is our proven structure we use for a direct offer VSL. Now, this is something you should spend a lot of time on, because like people are making VSLs and there's times where like it's actually hurting them more than it's helping them. Like, especially when like, I see this all the time, like a young kid or a young man wants to get into the agency game. Like he lives with his parents still, and he's making a VSL in his bedroom with his bed in the back. He doesn't really know what he's talking about. He's trying to make it look super cool and editing and this, and it just ends up making you look like a kid and not like an expert. And like, it makes you look like you don't know what you're talking about. So like the VSL can be something that literally makes your show rate 0% because everyone sees it, they fucking hate it, or it can be something that helps you a lot. But it doesn't have to be some high production thing, what I got going on with this fucking light and the dog right here. It doesn't have to be. What's more important is like the voice inflection, how you sound, being confident in what you're saying, and actually being an expert in your niche. It has to be quality, and it has to leave a good impression on your prospect. Now, I want to be quite honest. I did not create this framework. Cole Gordon didn't create this framework. He's someone that uses it a lot. Alex Hormozy didn't create this framework. It was Alex Becker, right? The founder of Hyros. This is like the direct response marketing fucking king. Now, this framework is very offer-centric, based on the offer, like I said, and it's very straightforward. Now, this works extremely well for B2B or solution-aware markets. So anyone looking for a solution, they're trying to see you versus competitors, which is exactly what you guys are doing. Now, I'm sure a lot of your calls are like, oh, I get tests like this all the time. I get calls like this all the time. I get ads like this all the time. This is when we use something like an offer-centric VSL, because they're getting ads like this and they're just hopping on calls. They're trying to find the best solution for them. They're not thinking, oh, should I work with a marketing agency? They're more thinking, oh, okay, I'm gonna work with a marketing agency. Which one should I work with? So the goal of this VSL is to get them to realize this is what they've been missing, right? This is what I need to get to my goal of how many jobs a month or how many whatever. I realize why everything I've tried in the past has failed me and why this is gonna be different. I can see why this is a no-brainer and why it gets the results that it does. This clearly worked, and this is what I need, and it's meant to build trust with the prospect. Now, the first thing about the VSL is gonna be the headline. So focus on the most emotionally compelling part of your offer. It should be the main thing that the market wants. So like whatever your offer is, I would say is good for the headline. And then below it, it's just gonna be the risk reversal. So let's say your offer is pay per appointment. I would just be like pay per appointment, or not no setup fee, but no ad spend, only pay per appointment. If it's pay per close, whatever. If it's 30 appointments guaranteed, you don't pay a single penny. So the headline's pretty simple. I would literally just make it your offer. I wouldn't overcomplicate it for now. But after that, the first 5 seconds of the actual VSL is gonna be hook and call out. So these things should all be happening simultaneously. So you should be hooking them and calling them out at the same time. Now, the purpose of this video is to make sure the right people are watching and consuming the VSL, and it's to hook them, right? Hook the prospect to engage, right? So retention is going to be huge. Like even when it comes to YouTube videos, Instagram Reels, the first 5 to 30 seconds, so 30 seconds for a YouTube video, 5 seconds for a reel, are going to be the most important part of the video with retention. It's going to be setting the expectation of what the video is going to look like. It's going to be creating a curiosity loop if they should actually watch the whole video. Now, I want you guys to understand the competitive nature of like how important it is to make a good VSL, because imagine this, you're targeting roofers, a roofer books a call with you, they see their VSL, and then their wife's like, oh, did you take out the trash? Or maybe someone on their crew is like, oh, this happened on the roof, someone fell out. They're not gonna be like, oh, give me 3 more minutes, I wanna finish this VSL. You know, I wanna finish this video. They're gonna fucking turn your shit off, they're never gonna watch it, and then they're gonna show up to the call. You are fighting for their attention every single second. Now, let's say that's not even the case and they just get a text, right? They just get a text from somebody, something more interesting than your video. They click off, you making this VSL was completely useless. So we're fighting for every single second they're giving us. So there's gonna be two parts of the hook and call out. Now the first part is gonna be a pattern interrupt. So this is something you can do in your ads, right? If you're doing video ads, you see people, they'll like hold up objects. A pattern interrupt is basically something that interrupts a pattern. For example, like I used to run an ad for solar a while ago, and this was the winner that I did 2 years ago that helped me hit my first $100,000 month because it did so well. I was on a plane and I was yelling. When you scroll, so I would like suggest, like when you guys are scrolling, you find stuff that's hooking your attention. You're like, well, why did I pay attention to that? And so I literally was watching a video of some dude screaming in a plane, and I thought it was funny, and I was like, oh wait, I'm getting on a plane tomorrow. So I made a same exact ad that basically was working a little bit, but I made it on a plane and I was yelling, and then I made one on the plane and I was whispering. On the plane whispering, it wasn't a pattern interrupt because that's something people always do. They whisper on planes because they don't want to get in the way of people. But I was sitting there yelling on the plane. I was being a nuisance to the people around me, and people wanted to stay. They wanted to watch the video because they were like, well, it hooked their attention, if that makes sense. So the first thing you want to do is hook their attention, give them a reason to watch the rest of your video. Don't do this in a corny way. I saw this one VSL where this guy had some like mask on his face and he was like, roofers, your competition is getting obliterated or something like that. So you need to be careful because you don't want to look immature when you're doing this. I see so many people like in the roofing industry specifically, oh, it's so bad. There was this one guy who did like an ad where basically these people are making ads, making VSLs that just makes them look like a kid, makes them not be trusted. You don't have to be super professional, but just don't make yourself look like you're just getting into the industry and like leaving a bad impression into their mouth. So that's step one, is going to be that pattern interrupt. Step two is going to be this call out. So call out your most ideal client and be super specific. So who are they specifically? If I was talking to you guys, if you're an agency owner between 10 and 50K a month and you are booking calls consistently, but you can't seem to scale your back end with increasing your LTV and your lifetime gross profit, then this is for you, or something like that. The more specific you are, the better, because you want people to like be like, oh, he's talking to me. I feel like this video was literally made for me. And also anyone that it's not is not going to watch the video, and you don't even want them to because they're not your ideal client. You're not going to be able to get them as good results. You're not going to be able to close them as well, and they're going to pay you as much. So like if you're a blank and you, so it'd be like if you're a coach agency owner between 10 and 50K a month and you can't generate more than 30 to 50 calls per month on your done for you or coaching offer. So this is subtle. I like this a lot because it calls out your audience and subtly qualifies them, because I'd be implying that they're not booking 30 calls a month. So this is almost more powerful than like you're between 10 and 50K a month, because people really don't listen to that. But if you can call out like a pain point and you blank and you're tired of your salespeople knocking doors and not booking qualified calls, so they end up leaving you, we're calling it a pain point. And by calling out that pain point, we're only calling out a very specific buying persona, which basically just means if I'm calling out somebody that it has a sales team and they're tired of their sales team knocking doors and churning and like leaving them, then I wouldn't be targeting any of the roofers that basically didn't have a sales team. And I don't even want to be targeting them because they're broke and they likely can't pay me money. So the problems and desires in the current pain is almost stronger than the call out financially. Pattern interrupt, call out, but the more specific you can go here, the better. The better your VSL perform, like I said, and the more qualified calls you're going to generate. So right after you first call them out and do the pattern interrupt, next step is going to be stating your offer. This increases retention because the offer is obviously the whole reason why they're on the video. We got to think about the sales process, right? So it's probably like whether they saw like an ad or whether they saw like a text blast or whatever they saw, the reason why they replied to it was likely because of your offer. Your offer was good. So having your offer there is going to increase retention. So basically you blast your irresistible offer and risk reversal in their face. So what this would sound like is like, let's just say I have this pen out, and then I'm like, if you're a roofer closing over 10 deals a month and you're tired of your sales team leaving you because you can't generate them qualified calls, I'm going to guarantee you X or you don't pay. So I can't stress this enough about VSLs. I don't care about what you do on your back end. In your marketing, you must have your domino message. So basically like the one big thing you guys are talking about, you must speak to the one big thing they actually want. For example, in most cases, just going to be booking more calls and taking more like qualified calls. We're not going to talk about their back end or their sales or anything like that, because all they're here to do is to listen to about how we're going to generate them more qualified calls. So take us as an example, right? So I help my clients with sales teams, offer creation, repositioning, recruitment, all departments, marketing, booking calls, outbound, leading teams, etc. But in our ads and our VSLs, I don't talk about any of that, right? Not even like the super one-on-one stuff. The only thing I speak to in our marketing is the fact that they will make money guaranteed or they're not going to pay, right? Why? Because that's all the market wants and that's all the market cares about. They need much more than that to end up making money, which is why we provide much more than that. What they wanted to do is to increase their revenue. So that's all I'm talking about. I cannot stress that enough. So after you state your front end offer, right? So this irresistible offer that we were talking about like earlier, the next thing you're going to do is state your risk reversal if you have one, or we're going to give you a refund, like no questions asked, like we'll pay you 10K or whatever. And then something that like Kai Backs and like some big marketers are doing right now, it's like, and I know you're probably thinking, how am I going to take all the risk off of you and bring it onto my company? It's because like, look at our contract. I have nothing to hide from you, etc., etc. So you can like elaborate this on a little more. But basically, so far, all we've done is called them out with a pattern interrupt and stated the offer. After you state your offer, transition, so elaborate on your offer. Usually the word I like to use like meaning XYZ, so like I was talking about with Kybacks, meaning if you don't generate at least double what your fee is, you don't pay a single cent guaranteed. So it's just like you're elaborating on what you just talked about. In other words, if we charge 15K, you don't make back at least 30K, we're legally obligated to refund you the entire 15K that you paid back to join. And so you can like play around with some other stuff, like putting some more proof. And so after you transition, what we're gonna do is address the elephant in the room. So which is why can you offer such a crazy guarantee? And what we would be like is like, I'm sure you guys have heard this in like marketing before. It's like, and to address the elephant in the room, I know you're probably thinking, how can we offer something like this without going completely bankrupt? And most people overlook this part. You must provide a compelling reason why you're offering such a crazy guarantee. You have to answer the inevitable question that's like, okay, that sounds great, but what's the catch? Like, this sounds too good to be true. Most of the time, the reason why is just gonna be client results. So this is the transition. It looks like, now you may be wondering, why am I offering such a crazy guarantee like this? It's because of one thing, my track record, my client X did Y, my client Z did whatever did whatever. Whenever you make a claim like this in marketing that you're gonna be able to make them $1 zillion, right, we always need to back it up with proof. Side note, you could also advertise the real catch to the offer, but the catch should always be a net positive. So for example, it'd be like, I sometimes will use like, now the catch is that once you like get this irresistible offer, we hope you'll become like a private client for life, you know? Okay, so the reason why we offer something like this is because we wanna get you guys in, show us how much value we can provide to you. And if we know if we can get you qualified appointments to show up every day, that you will stay with us for life, something like that. So this provides a reason why, and it also acts as like a net positive because it implies they're gonna receive the huge benefit, the one big thing they want. And it's like, what's in it for you, basically? Like, why are you even offering that to them? So after we make that crazy claim, we just back it up with results, right? Like I said, every time you make a claim, you must back it up no matter what. So when stating results, you can just subtly handle objection. It's simple. Look at our track record. We helped John do XYZ and XYZ time frame. So make sure you're including before and after phase and relate it to the prospect. So it'd be like, for example, my client Johnathan Wang went from $0 a month. He was working a 9 to 5. He didn't know how he was going to scale his income because he was a freelancer, to 9 months to 3 months later hitting 52K in a single month, XYZ. So after the offer, we transition and then we go into proof of claim, addressing the elephant in the room, and then you do the first CTA. So there's two ways that we could do this. You can either use a VSL as like a post-booking VSL, so like a thank you page VSL, and in this case, we just require they watch the video before they actually show up to the call. Or we can do like a pre-booking VSL, put the VSL prior to them booking a call, force consumption of the VSL before they actually book. In my case, like I'm seeing that especially for guys doing under 50K a month, I would just say it's always best to make the VSL post-booking so they watch the VSL after, because it's like, why are we gonna make them watch a 5 to 10 minute video to book a fucking call when you guys likely don't have any calls on your calendar in the first place? If you're under 30 to 50K a month, you just don't have calls and you can't close them, and it's not the VSL's fault. So I would only put a VSL pre-booking when your time is so physically fucking valuable that you like physically can't take a call with like a not unqualified prospect, but one that's not super warm, because you can still close prospects that haven't watched the VSL. This first CTA, in this case, if you're doing a pre-booking VSL, include this. If you're doing a post-booking VSL, so a VSL that we're requiring them to watch after they book a call, I wouldn't use this, which is going to be most of you guys. But the CTA would basically be like, click the link below, book a call with me or my member of my team, and let's chat about it. And the way that this verbiage would look like is like, so what the verbiage typically looks like with this first CTA is like, this is all you need to hear, and you're thinking, okay, I know this works. I know I need to book more calls every month to scale my business, and I know you've done this for yourself and you know it works. Click link below, book a call with me or a member of my team, and let's chat about it. But if you want to see like how it works and why it works a little bit more, stick with me for like 3 more minutes and let me show you. And so the purpose of this would basically just be like to capture on all the people that are going to drop off from minute like 1 to minute like 5, because the VSL is going to be around like 4 to 5 minutes, like 4 to 7 minutes, I would say. We'll make that first call to action like in the beginning of the video, and we'll make one at the end again. But like I said, like I wouldn't do this unless you're doing a pre-booking VSL, and most of you guys won't. Next thing is going to be the second transition. As I said, if you're doing a post-booking VSL, meaning that you're only making them watch the VSL after they book a call, I would just skip that whole part and go here. The goal of it is to rehook the audience and transition into your unique mechanism to get their desired situation. I'll kind of cover what a unique mechanism is in a second, but the structure of this should be to 1, justify their failures by revealing their real problem. You want to take the blame off all your prospects' shoulders and put it onto the old opportunities they've tried. So instead of me being like, it's your fault because you haven't been focused on running meta ads and this and selling them on that fact, it's not your fault. It's not your fault why you haven't hit 100K a month. It's actually the fault of all these other people who are trying to sell you these this fake dream that doesn't actually exist and are relying on outdated methods. So the way that we do this is by simply reversing our answer to how are you unique. So for example, it'd be like, how is this unique? And for an example, for one of my clients, it's the only indicator in the world that helps you get in the trade before the news is actually published. So you're going to make way more gains basically than anybody else. And then the second question would be, how do you justify their failures? The real problem is that you get into the trade after the news is already published. By the time you get in, it's already too late and the big gains have already been made. Here, we're trying to be like, basically, it's not your fault. It's just because you haven't had access to the tool. The reason of this VSL is to show them a unique mechanism, which is basically you're a proprietary thing that no one else has. So in like Serge Guattari's case, it was like build and release. For like Robbie Avivala, it was like the self-sustaining funnel. I'm not going to say these things aren't real. It's like a marketing message they have of something they quote unquote created. And so you can't learn how to build and release AI infrastructures unless you go buy from Serge Guattari, right? Because that's his thing. That's what he created. If you, like the whole goal of a VSL, which is he's really good at doing, is convincing your prospect that your mechanism, building and releasing infrastructures in this case, or whatever mechanism you guys have seen in the past, is the way to scale your business. All we're trying to do, convince our prospects, that our mechanism, the thing that we have that no one else has, is the way that they're going to scale. That gives them two options. That means they can either pay us to get the mechanism because we created it and no one else can give it to them, or they just consume the free content that we're putting out. So it's a win-win. We just have to make them believe that the way we scale businesses, local businesses, is the way that they're going to, is like the secret. If we can do that, all objections will become obsolete. Like there will be no objections and everyone will be laid down and they'll be way more high ticket. The reason why your prospects have failed is that all the solutions they tried in the past haven't addressed their real problem, right? Which isn't their fault, but your new opportunity does address this new problem. Now, the language pattern here is typically, now if you want to know more detail on why this works so well, ... and then we can go into how is this unique, what the problem is, etc. So after we've done that, we dive into unique mechanism, which is what I was just talking about, and you have one single goal in this section. You need to create simultaneous explanation as to why everything your market has tried in the past has failed, so why every agency in the past has not worked, and what you have is different. So for example, and I'm just using this because I know it so well, in the solar industry, a lot of people run Facebook ads that say solar is free, you get solar at net cost, no money down for solar. And so I was calling that out in my VSL, basically being like, I'm sure you worked with this agency who ran ads like this. Now, if they're saying solar is free, they're likely getting you leads, but the leads don't convert, and then it's whose fault? They set wrong expectations, right? And then we cover why we don't do that and what we do that's actually different. Now, we don't dive too tactically and like, oh, I make this ad that looks like this and this, because at the end of the day, they don't give a fuck. All they want is to get the results, but we address their pain and sell them the vacation. Now, you want to explain why your approach and your option is exponentially better than anything else on the market. What I want you guys to do is think of all the other ways they could achieve the result and show why you are exponentially better than those options. Whether that's other marketing agencies, which is going to be in most of your guys' cases, or door knocking more, or basically handing out more flyers, or doubling down on what they're currently doing, or something like that. So ideally, you want one big reason, and this is going to be the domino effect that I was talking to you guys about earlier, why what you have going on is different, and why what you have going on is the absolute key to getting them a desired result. The thing that I would say, if you guys can't, like, are getting stuck here, is it's literally just like, your thing's not good. Because with my product and my agency, I can literally think of 30 things that we're doing that people aren't doing, and it's the reason why our results are so good. If you have nothing that you're doing differently than anyone else, odds are you just fucking suck. Because it's like, if you're doing the same exact thing as everyone else, you're just gonna get the same results as everyone else, and everyone gets mediocre results. You actually have to innovate on your product for this to actually sound new. Because you bullshitting some new reason is just gonna sound, in my opinion, not good, and people are gonna be able to tell. This is extremely hard to do, but you can go up to 3 reasons max. So we wanna make it clear why, again, what they've tried in the past has failed, and why this is the most direct, easy, safe, and most guaranteed path to their ultimate goal, which is gonna be like closing more jobs at the end of the day. The explanation must be clear and make the prospect think that makes sense. And in order to do this, what we do is we leverage stories, right? We leverage big names in the industry and analogies. I use ChatGPT in every single VSL, like a lot. A lot of the guys in the info space, like Iman Ghazi, Serge Guattari, Ravi, like these guys I was talking to you guys about earlier, they do really, really good at VSLs. You guys have probably seen all of their VSLs and they're really good at it. And it's the reason why they make so much money. They're so good at making things sound new, and they're making the wrapping paper on the unique mechanism so good. So if you guys are struggling with this, I would go watch some of their VSLs and take some ideas. But something they do well is they use like bigger companies to like show you the analogy, or like celebrities. So they'll use like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson or Alex Hormozy or something like this. But you can't do that in local business. Like, I'm not going to be able to be in like the solar space and be like, Alex Hormozy does this, so you guys have to do this. Like, they don't give a shit. So maybe I could be like, Apple does this, or Tesla does this, Power does this. Power's like a big solar company. So like, make sure that the analogies you're using are actually relatable to your target audience. So like, when you're watching like these VSLs that I just told you guys to take note of, something that you guys need to take note of is like, they're trying to make it relatable to you. They're not trying to make it relatable to local business owners. So you guys have to make it relatable to local business owners. So your market wants to know subliminally what makes your thing not only different, but better than every other option. Ultimately, they want to buy the superior solution, the one that's going to give them the best likelihood of success. No one wants to buy the second second best thing. But the purpose of your mechanism enables you to market effectively to a more sophisticated market, just meaning like someone with more money, and to a market that's been saturated and exposed to a lot of messages and claims. Because when you're putting an ad out there in like any local business industry, there's a million of them out there. Like you and I already know that. And every like agency owner knows that there's a million different agencies in the world. But if we have a unique thing about our agency, that's our USP, our unique selling proposition on why someone should go with us rather than anybody else. And the next thing we need to do in here is give our prospects hope. So hope that maybe this time your unique mechanism, they're going to be successful. So again, it's addressing that everything they've done in the past is wrong, why it's wrong, how it's not their fault, how you have this new mechanism and it's this new thing that everyone else is doing that they haven't learned about yet, but all the top guys in the space are doing it, and this is how it works. So this is how to create or find your mechanism. Number one, examine what your competitors are doing marketing wise. We're examining these competitors to know what not to say because we don't want to be like them. We can't copy someone's unique mechanism because it's unique. It's supposed to be unique to you. So when we're researching the market, we're going to be researching what is the mechanism behind their offer, how does the mechanism work, and how does it actually work? What are positive and negative about their approach? Does their mechanism solve a symptom of the problem or the root cause? Next thing, I want you guys to understand what your prospects are hearing from your competitors is critical. Like that's critical because I love in my VSL calling out what the rest of the industry is doing and how that's not working, especially in a sophisticated market like Cairo and like dentists and like stuff like this. Because if you don't know what they're already hearing from other people, then you have no way of knowing whether or not you're presenting something actually new or different, right? So I'll do market research, see what other people are doing to make sure we do the opposite and to make sure that we're actually being new. This is why I always say to funnel hack people. So next, the wrapping paper. The wrapping paper is just what you're going to call it. Don't get too hung up on the naming your mechanism. A few things, just make it sound scientific and make it sound real. Don't do some bullshit, just some like AI door knocking digital system. Like I've heard that 1 zillion times. Make it sound real, make it sound tangible, make it sound scientific. Don't make it sound like some bullshit that you made up in one day, even though that's what you're probably going to do. But I would just like ChatGPT it, something like that, like cook it up for like 30 minutes and you'll probably get something good. So they understand what it is, not just in the context you're using it in, but like they'll understand what it is just by the name. So for example, P90X was like basically like, I think it was like fitness training, but like on a disc. I don't know. I don't actually know what this product was. Their mechanism was the muscle confusion method, right? So this makes sense. I don't even know what it is. And it sounds like, okay, we're going to confuse the muscles to end up, they don't know what's happening and they're going to grow. Now I know that that's bullshit. Now everyone knows that that's bullshit, but back in the day it worked. Anyways, we're not talking about the product. We're introducing them to a new method, right? A new mechanism and educating them on how and why it works. And by the same time you're done educating them on the mechanism, they understand why this mechanism gets them to the result that they deeply want. So after the unique mechanism, we go back into proof of claim part 2. Again, just restate more testimonials on why the mechanism actually works. And then after that, we make another CTA and we wrap up, which would just be like, so again, if you're a roofer and you're XYZ and you want XYZ guaranteed, click the link below, book a call with me, remember my team, and let's chat about it. And again, we only use the CTA if we're doing a post-booking a pre-booking VSL, not a post-booking VSL. Something about the CTA at the end is like, if they've watched the whole video and they haven't booked a call yet, then like they're very interested, but they just have an objection. So just like people have objections to buying, they have objections to booking calls, they have an objection to clicking ads. So I always give like a motivational speech at the end of my VSL. And so that would be like, and I know if you watch this video, then like you're resonating with it a little bit, blah, blah, blah. And so like, let's say if I was doing it. So for example, like I know if you're watching this video and you made it this far, this video is resonating with you a little bit. If you book right now, I'll XYZ, 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 like value stack. And you can even talk about like discounts and stuff like that. The VSL structure. I don't know how long this video is. I've been recording it for 40 minutes or 36 minutes, but we'll see how long this video ends up being. Last things I want to go over is one, keys to success. I mean, just keys to success. So number one, it's going to be voice inflection and delivery. When I won my ClickFunnels award, Fahad, put up a photo right here. Fahad's my editor. But when I won my ClickFunnels award, there was basically a webinar that Russell Brunson did, and he took all the top ClickFunnels guys, like the guys who got the 2 Common Club, and he saw what did they have in common in their funnel. Was it the offer? Was it the ad? Was it the outreach? Was it the what they were saying in the VSL? Like what was it? And what it actually was the voice inflection and delivery of the VSL. People would have a VSL and then they would make the same VSL but say the words differently, be more themselves or whatever, and it would perform 5 times better. Don't be afraid to film your VSL 20 times and just talk like yourself. A lot of you guys aren't in front of the camera, so you're just not used to it. I would challenge you to record the VSL 20 times because if you better, make it better. Why would you record a VSL once and be like, oh, that's okay? No, this is something that every single one of your prospects is going to see, and it's going to leave a stamp on your business for the rest of your life or for however long you have it up. I would actually try and be very, very specific with the voice inflection, delivery, and make sure you just sound like an expert. You sound like someone who knows their industry. Number 2, be logical and direct. Don't try and be super emotional in these local business industries. Again, if you're talking to agency owners, coaches, consultants, insurance guys, I would say like industries like that where people want to learn for themselves how to do it, you can be more emotional and less direct, but these guys have been through this process a billion times. In my VSLs, I literally go, look, I know you've seen this video 100 times. I'm not here to waste your time. I'm here to do the exact opposite. I want to be as direct as possible because I know you're on roofs. I know you're slapping deals, and I want to save us both time. Just tell you how it works and why it works, and save us time on the call. Something like that, you know, just be super direct and respect their time, and they'll appreciate that. Then number 3, just be someone worth buying from. You have to think about it. You're trying to sell something for thousands of dollars. If you don't look like somebody that someone would buy something from, and if you don't talk like somebody that someone would buy something from, then you're never gonna make the money. Those are the top things that I suggest. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. This video people have been requesting a lot. So if you did, drop a sub button below. I appreciate y'all watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.